Hello and welcome to the Boomer Salt and Light Company. I'm glad you could join us today. I'm excited about this episode. We have some guests with us. Vic and Monique Woodward from the Mosaic ministry. They're going to be talking to us about marriage and particularly how it relates to the boomer generation. I'll be sharing a song I wrote for my wife that talks about the importance of continuing to pursue each other even as we get along in years and move into our later boomer days. So I'm excited about this episode and hope you enjoy it. Go ahead and get started with the song. It's called For Renee. It's my wife's name. And then after that, we'll have the interview with Vic and Monique. So welcome aboard the Boomer Salt and Light Company, and let's get going. You and I have been together for a long, long time. Thinking back, I can't remember when you weren't mine. And through the years, we shared a lot of tears and laughter. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. We still hold hands and we always kiss goodnight. When I hold you in my arms, things just seem right. Watch an old movie that makes you cry. Growing closer as each day goes by. Through the years, we shared a lot of tears and laughter. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. And through the years, we shared a lot of tears and laughter. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. We go for walks together, just talking about things. Dance to our favorite song and the memories it brings. Sitting by a fire, watching the snow come down. Feeling your love without saying a sound. Through the years, we've shared a lot of tears and laughter. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. And through the years, we shared a lot of tears and laughter. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. Well, I hope you enjoyed that song. You know, the words, you're still the one I'm after, I think is what can really help boomer marriages by continuing to really pursue each other, like we did when we first started. So I'm excited now to be able to introduce Vic and Monique Woodward to you and their ministry, Marriage Mosaic. So let's go ahead and play that interview, and we'll see you on the other side. I'd like to welcome you to the Boomer Salt and Light Company. I'm glad that you could take time to be with us today, and you have an opportunity now to hear from Monique and Vic Woodward and their ministry called Marriage Mosaic, and I'm glad that they're able to be here with us. So tell us a little bit about Marriage Mosaic and what motivated you to get it started and what exactly it is.
Yeah, well, thanks, John, for having us. We really appreciate the Boomer Salt and Light Company. Been having fun watching these videos with you,
Great.
and it's been really, really cool, really fun.
Good.
So, yeah, marriage mosaic. Tell everyone about the mosaic of marriage, because that's kind of Monique's creative idea.
Okay.
Well, I think, honestly, a lot of times people's ministries burst out of their own pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you ask, how do we get started? And
Right.
we went through a marriage crisis.
Okay.
So our marriage almost ended 23 years ago. And about 4 years after that, we had an opportunity. Won't go into that long story, but God intervened.
Mm-hmm.
We had some pretty special people walk alongside us,
Awesome.
mentoring, counseling, people who are real with us.
Mm-hmm.
Went to some workshops. We went to workshops every year, actually.
Every year, yeah.
So I guess, wanting to be there, wanting to be authentic and real and supportive for other marriages. And so that's the why. The marriage mosaic piece is we just see God at work in a lot of different ministries. So we use a mosaic of materials. And if you think of a mosaic, one piece of a mosaic isn't pretty by itself. There's rough edges, there's beautiful pieces, but all together it's beautiful. And every marriage is going to look a little different in terms of what works, and so there's no cookie cutter, definitely.
Right.
And we like to use a variety of different materials, ministries, just depending on what people need.
Sure.
So there's, I think, the big piece as far as the mosaic. I don't know if you want to add to that.
I would just say that God, if we allow God to, He will make beauty out of all these broken pieces.
Yeah.
And He'll put them together and have, you could have a beautiful marriage story.
Yeah.
It's His work.
Yeah.
So that's all I would add to that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So we mentor. We either do mentor couples. We've done workshops, seminars. Sometimes I just meet with women, and Vic meets with men. Sometimes we meet as couples. We've done small groups.
Yeah.
We've done dinners. I don't know. Pretty flexible. It's really.
So whatever's needed, you kind of try to discern what the need is, and then meet that need with the resources.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the mosaic, I like that.
Yeah.
Very good. So, and you're in the midst of doing that right now with.
Yes.
Right. As someone asks us that's known us from the past, what are you guys doing these days? And I said, we're staying the course. We've been mentoring couples in small groups and little marriage workshops. We've been doing that from the get-go.
Yeah, for about 18 years now.
Been 18 years.
Yeah.
And you're still going strong in
Still
it.
going strong.
And
Even in the middle of what's going on right now, actually.
Yeah.
A little bit different. I have to get creative. A lot of time on Zoom or in the backyard.
Yeah. It's
outside.
It is definitely a different time we're living through right now. And, this show kind of is started towards boomers and how they're living life. And boomer marriages is something I'd like to just kind of talk about for a minute. You got any thoughts on boomer marriages? Boomers, of course, are folks that are right now 56 up to, I believe it's 72 now. So it's a wide range. It's the generation that I grew up in, and now we're reaching a point where we're looking at retirement, we're looking out at the future, and maybe have some questions. And most of us are married, and so Marriage Mosaic applies to our generation. And how's our generation doing? How's boomer marriages?
Well, I'd like to be able to give you a real positive report, but according to statistics from Pew Research, divorces nearly doubled in the last 25 years for boomer marriages,
For
people
boomer
50 and
marriages.
over.
Is that right?
So there's a lot of factors, that come into play in that. Certainly the normalization of divorce, right, which we saw in our generation,
Right.
is a factor, and there's many others, but we mentor boomer marriages and all marriages, but the other factor that's in there is remarriage, and how to navigate remarriage is another whole ball game.
Sure.
So there's a huge need, and we want to be there to support couples, and especially in the years where, like you said, we experience empty nesting, and with this COVID-19 season, there's more scrambling of the story, right?
There's a lot of changes that go on for boomers. I mean, we don't have time to list them all, but they definitely impact marriage, and the COVID-19 just added to that list. Any suggestions for people during this time, trying to keep a marriage strong during the time of a pandemic? I know I've talked to friends who work in law enforcement, and they're saying there's a real rise in domestic violence and things that affect relationships and marriages. Any thoughts?
Definitely. I mean, most importantly is not becoming isolated.
Oh, good.
And so, you can say, well, that sounds great, but what does that look like if you are needing to be more social distancing, depending on how comfortable you are? Do you even want to be outside 6 feet away, inside 6 feet away? But there are, we have the technology right now. We're doing an interview, right? So we have found an increase in the use of online mentoring.
Okay.
So Zoom, for example, we've done online marriage workshops. Whether you go to a workshop or you have someone you reach out to, so just not isolating yourself. Because if you think you're the only marriage that's struggling, that's not true.
Good.
I think just being a friend to another marriage, being willing to share, hey, this is going on, and choosing not to just kind of go in.
Right.
Because I think that's a big root of the problem, is when you're your own self-referencing system. And just having influence from others.
So reach out and don't isolate.
Yep.
And find a friend or
take a risk to be real about something that's going on in your life. What do you have to lose, really?
Right.
You know, because it's just going to get worse if you keep it inside.
Yeah.
I would say the other thing, and could be difficult for some, it certainly was difficult for me, is begin to explore and identify your feelings. And start there first. What am I really feeling today? And then again, like Monique said, be vulnerable with your spouse and share with him or her what's going on. That type of communication really promotes empathy and understanding when we can do that.
And there's just so many resources.
And
if you're wondering, you would like support, that's one thing on our website. We've had people reach out to us in different states, different countries.
Good.
We don't have it all, but we can point you to maybe a resource that best suits your circumstance.
That's great.
Whether it's communication issues, health issues, maybe you're married to someone who has Asperger's or ADHD or different things going on, then we can help point you to people or resources. You're going through health issues, cancer, finances. So Marriage
Mosaic is there to... people can reach out to you and you guys can point them in directions that'll or help, whether they're
may not be us. We could know someone in another state. We can connect you.
Networking at a time like this. So avoid isolation and keep up the communication are the two real big things. And be willing to reach out for help, and the resources are there. And I'm so glad that you're there with Marriage Mosaic to be available to help people through this time, because like you said, a lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of marriages are hurting. But like you said, Monique, there's resources, there's people that care. Marriage Mosaic is one ministry that's available. And so I think what we've heard of today is really good. I appreciate Monique and Vic and the ministry in 18 years reaching out to marriages. And if you're a boomer out there and you feel like you're stuck and your marriage is stuck, reach out. Marriage Mosaic, their website's available. They can point you in directions. Reach out to friends, family. But like they said, don't isolate and talk to each other. Talk to your spouse. And our goal really in prayer is that boomer marriages would grow stronger as the years go by. And because those relationships that you've built over the years are so valuable. And of course, from our perspective, if Christ is in the center of your marriage, he becomes the foundation. and the one that can give you the strength to, and by His grace, to just keep on keeping on. Well, I wonder if any of you have any final thoughts or comments before we close out this interview.
Yeah, I was thinking as we were talking, you could be sitting there thinking, feeling discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes someone could be saying, yeah, but you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand.
You don't understand.
Yeah,
you don't know what it's been
right.
like to live with my spouse. And this is kind of how we've done it. And I just don't see any hope.
Right.
And I think you mentioned if, your hope is that we're coming from a point of having the hope in Christ.
Right.
And so Christ is able to keep us
Mm-hmm.
and to start something new, to birth something new and different. We have the resurrection hope living in us.
Mm.
So it's not too late.
It's not hopeless.
It's not. It's really not. And I think just with humility and trust in God and willingness
Mm-hmm.
to get influence and resources from others, you can start something new, even if this has been your pattern for
Right.
30 years, 3 years, 30, 40 years.
It's never too late
It's
to start something.
not in
new.
Christ.
Yeah, as
It's
long as you're
not
still
hopeless.
breathing, right?
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah.
Vic, any final thoughts? Or?
No, I think that's really solid. 'Cause, I think at least the boomer marriages we've come in contact
Mm-hmm.
with, when they reach these, these breaking points,
Mm-hmm.
and they just don't want to go on anymore. They've reached a point of hopelessness. They don't see any hope in it.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and as Monique said, for those of us who are following Jesus, that hope is in Him, and He can do a work. He can rebirth a passion for your marriage,
Yeah.
and He's done that for us, and He'll do it for anyone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's awesome,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I just want to thank you, Monique and Vic, for spending time with the Boomer Salt and Light Company today. I hope you take advantage of some of the ministry tools they have available, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the Boomer Salt and Light Company, and thanks so much.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview. Appreciate Vic and Monique taking time to share about their ministry and give us some tips about boomer marriages. Just encourage you to take advantage of the resources they have available through their ministry. You can visit their website. The address is on the screen. And you can also email them with your questions. And it's also on the screen. So it's exciting to have the opportunity to be with them. And I hope that you got some good stuff out of it. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of the Boomer Salt and Light Company. Glad you could be here with us. If you take a moment and become a subscriber to our YouTube page, you'll be sure to get notified when the next episode comes out. Until then, take care, God bless you, and we'll see you next time. You and I have been together for a long, long time. Thinking back, I can't remember when you weren't mine. And through the years, we shared a lot of tears and laughter. And honey, after all this time, you're still the one I'm after. We still hold hands and we always kiss goodnight.